the whistle, for which I had to arrive punctually every morning and evening. The first week of this new service, I once noticed that after performing this duty of mine, I felt for an hour or two vaguely ill at ease. But when this strange feeling, increasing day by day, ultimately became a definite instinctive uneasiness, from which even my appetite for makoch disappeared, I began from then on always to think and think in order to find out the cause of this. I thought about it all particularly intensely for some reason or other while going to and coming from my work. But however hard I tried, I could make nothing whatsoever even approximately clear to myself. It thus continued for almost 2 years, and finally, when the calluses on my palms had become quite hard from the rope of the steam whistle, I quite accidentally and suddenly understood why I experienced this uneasiness. The shock for my correct understanding, as a result of which there was formed in me concerning this an unshakable conviction, was a certain exclamation I accidentally heard under the following rather peculiar circumstances. One morning when I had not had enough sleep, having spent the first half of the night at the christening of my neighbor's 9th daughter, and the other half in reading a very interesting and rare book I had by chance obtained, and which was entitled Dreams and Witchcraft. As I was hurrying on my way to release the steam, I suddenly saw at the corner a barber surgeon I knew, belonging to the local government service, who beckoned me to stop. The duty of this barber surgeon friend of mine consisted in going at a certain time through the town accompanied by an assistant with a specially constructed carriage, and seizing all the stray dogs whose collars were without the metal plates distributed by the local authorities on payment of the tax, and taking these dogs to the municipal slaughterhouse, where they were kept for 2 weeks at municipal expense, feeding on the slaughterhouse offal. If, on the expiration of this period, the owners of the dogs had not claimed them and paid the established tax, then these dogs were, with a certain solemnity, driven down a certain passageway which led directly to a specially built oven. After a short time from the other end of this famous salutary oven, there flowed, with a delightful gurgling sound, a definite quantity of pellucid and ideally clean fat, to the profit of the fathers of our town for the manufacture of soap, and also perhaps of something else, and with a purling sound no less delightful to the ear, there poured out also a fair quantity of very useful substance for fertilizing. This barber surgeon friend of mine proceeded in the following simple and admirably skillful manner to catch the dogs. He somewhere obtained a large, old, and ordinary fishing net, which during these peculiar excursions of his for the general human welfare through the slums of our town, he carried, arranged in a suitable manner on his strong shoulders, and when a dog, without its passport, came within the sphere of his all-seeing and, for all the canine species, terrible eye, he, without haste and with the softness of a panther, would steal up closely to it, and seizing a favorable moment when the dog was interested and attracted by something it noticed, cast his net on it and quickly entangled it. And later, rolling up the carriage, he disentangled the dog in such a way that it found itself in the cage attached to the carriage. Just when my friend the barber surgeon beckoned me to stop, he was aiming to throw his net at the opportune moment at his next victim, which at that moment was standing wagging his tail and looking at a bitch. My friend was just about to throw his net when suddenly the bells of a neighboring church rang out, calling the people to early morning prayers. At such an unexpected ringing in the morning quiet, the dog took fright and, springing aside, flew off like a shot down the empty street at his full canine velocity. Then the barber surgeon, so infuriated by this that his hair, even beneath his armpits, stood on end, flung his net on the pavement and, spitting over his left shoulder, loudly exclaimed, "Oh, hell! What a time to ring!" As soon as the exclamations of the barber surgeon reached my reflecting apparatus, there began to swarm in it various thoughts which ultimately led, in my view, to the correct understanding of just why there proceeded in me the aforesaid instinctive uneasiness. The first moment after I had understood this, there even arose a feeling of being offended at myself that such a simple and clear thought had not entered my head before. I sensed with the whole of my being that my effect on the general life could produce no other result than that process which had all along proceeded in me. And indeed everyone awakened by the noise I make with the steam whistle, which disturbs his sweet morning slumbers, must without doubt curse me by everything under the sun, just me, the cause of this hellish row. And thanks to this, there must of course certainly flow towards my person from all directions vibrations of all kinds of malice. On that significant morning, when after performing my duties, I, in customary mood of depression, was sitting in a neighboring dukkan and eating hachi with garlic, I, continuing to ponder, came to the conclusion that if I should curse beforehand all those to whom my service for the benefit of certain among them might seem disturbing, then, according to the explanation of the book I had read the night before, however much all those, as they might be called, who lie in the sphere of idiocy, that is, between sleep and drowsiness, might curse me, it would have, as explained in that same book, no effect on me at all. And in fact, since I began to do so, I no longer feel the said instinctive uneasiness. Well now, patient reader, I must really conclude this opening chapter. It has now only to be signed, "He who..." Stop. Misunderstanding formation. With a signature there must be no kidding. Otherwise the same will be done to you as once before in one of the empires of Central Europe, when you were made to pay 10 years' rent for a house you occupied only for 3 months, merely because you had set your hand to a paper undertaking to renew the contract for the house each year. Of course, after this and still other instances from life experience, I must in any case, in respect of my own signature, be very, very careful. Very well then. He who in childhood was called Tatak, in early youth Darky, later the Black Greek, in middle age the Tiger of Turkestan, and now not just anybody, but the genuine Monsieur or Mr. Gurdjieff, or the nephew of Prince Mokransky, or finally, simply, a teacher of dancing.